If you are only interested in snapping pictures without any planning, then you can skip this segment. However, for those of you serious about taking good pictures, let's talk about setting up the best shot for any situation. This takes a little pre-planning so that as many elements can be introduced into a photograph prior to clicking that shutter.
I took the shot at the vintage Ferrari race at the Monaco Grand Prix. Several things caught my eye in setting up this shot. First, I wanted to capture the power of the 200-mile-an-hour car as if it were frozen in time. I decided to use a long 200mm lens. This would slam up the background as well as zoom in on the Ferrari. Naturally, I decided I wanted the car in action, not just appearing to stand still, so I wanted some motion in the background. I positioned myself where the sun would be most effective. Now I had to decide on the camera settings. I wanted to focus on the car, so I used a fairly wide aperture at 5.6, especially for a long lens such as my 200mm, so the background would be out of focus. Then I set a fast shutter speed of 1,000th a second to freeze the action, knowing the soft background would certainly add some interest to the shot. The motor drive was set to continuous and I blasted through 5.5 frames per second so as not to miss any action. Now all I had to do was be patient and wait for that perfect moment. I literally followed the cars with the 200mm lens, focused on the Ferrari until that moment arrived. I knew when I had the shot and that it was going to be more than what I was hoping for. All because I took the time to plan my shot.
Being a fashion photographer, you have to think on your feet, which can be both a blessing and a curse, as is evident in this next shot.
The checker, light reading on the face down the middle and down to the legs.
I had pretty much exhausted every possible interesting location in the studio, but I still had one big setup to shoot, a group shot. I grabbed the model, who was to be the focal point of the shot, and this is when I ran into a roadblock. The background was just not interesting.
You're not gonna like this. Yeah, I don't really like this. It's not even interesting. I have to find something else that would go there. So I'll have to think of something else here. I took 3 different locations with interesting backgrounds, and suddenly I've got a very plain corner, and then I don't like what's on either side of them. So I'm going to try and do something completely different.
I solved the problem by rethinking my whole approach to the shot. What looks interesting? What do I want to see in this shot?
You'll have to go to your, right there, hot spot. Good, try that again. Trying to fit 3 girls standing up, side beach really tight with just the faces. It's all about the faces, not so much about the clothes anymore. And then we've got very dramatic blue lips on the girls and silver on the one in the middle. And so it's more about just the heads, the faces. The black dresses are just shapes that I want in the shot.
I'll let the models do the work for me. 2 models with a fairer complexion draw your eyes to the model in the center of the frame.
Yes.
The contrast in the shot is what makes it interesting.
The contrast in flesh tones to the contrast of the lip shade makes the shot more compelling.
The bottom line in how this relates to you is you too can achieve this by planning your shot before you shoot.